Hello, I'm Karan Hatchett. I'll be presenting the ratios. We have about 5 ratios. The first one is current ratio. The second is quick ratio. The third is debt ratio. The fourth is inventory ratio. And the last one is asset turnover ratio. And dealing with current ratio, to describe current ratio is the higher the current ratio, then higher the liquidity, which means how quickly they can turn assets to cash. And right now, the company Daimler shows a positive increase since 2012, starting at 1.15% with an increase of about 6, and that's going to 1.21% compared to BMW, which is 1.04, which has a decrease, and now it's 0.98%. And next is the quick ratio. Quick ratio is businesses that can turn over cash to pay for their expenses. And for instance, Daimler has a positive increase from 2012 to 2016 from 0.85% to 0.9%, comparing to BMW with 0.84% decreasing to 0.81%. That's a 0.03 decrease. And when we're recording quick ratio is cash, marketable securities, and accounts receivable. You add the sum, you collect the sum, and you divide by the liabilities. Next, we have the total debt ratio. Higher the debt ratio infers that it's a more conspicuous money-related danger. They might be moving towards bankruptcy or towards some dangerous financial situations. And in comparison, BMW in 2012 was at 0.77%, and it decreased to 0.75%. And it shows that is positive for it to decrease. That means debt decreases compared to Daimler, which was 0.72 in 2012, and it has risen 0.76%. And that's a 0.04 increase, and that's not so good. We want to keep the debt ratio as low as possible. And inventory ratio is the relationship between the inventory that is sold and the exchange, how quickly they can replace that inventory that has been sold. And for BMW, they have an increase from 6.31% to 6.37%. That's a 0.06 increase compared to Daimler, which was 5.01%, and it decreased to 4.78%. Lastly, I'll talk about the asset turnover ratio. The asset turnover ratio measures the revenue generated by an asset, which means if I buy this asset, how quickly can it generate cash? And in comparison, BMW starting in 2012 was 0.58%, and it dropped to 0.50%. And Daimler, which was 0.70%, and it also decreased to 0.63%. And these companies are fairly decreasing, which means they're not turning over their assets as positively as they should be. And also, since both of them have decreased since 2012, that means that the assets that have been purchased are less in value now. So thank you. That's my presentation.